the vast empty, there was no one but one man, and nothing but stone. This stone was endless, a vast plain that filled all of everything, reaching up and down, to the sunrise and sunset. This man in the core of this stone, in utter darkness. He could not see because he was encased by this stone, but his determination he writhed and squirmed until cracks began to form. Upon this, an opening for his hands was opened, and he grabbed a fallen stone and used it to carve a path to the surface. After many years, he had made it to the surface, but there was nothing at all. A light shone down on all of the flat stone around him, but there was no sun in the sky or moon at all. Now, down below only an arm's length away was the hole he had come out of, and he swore to himself using words that he did not know that he would never enshroud himself in darkness again, or pursue anything that dared to venture there. The man of stone thought, no man, no land, so he ran. He ran across the reaches of the plain, though there was nothing anywhere. For years he ran, then a millennium, yet he found no one, no land, no hand to guide him, no face to watch him. Even the hole he had come out of was missed by him, the uniformity made him seethe in hatred. Nearing insanity, he clawed a stone from the ground, and rolled it into a pike. Then he clawed another stone out and rolled it into a ball. Now, the pike he named Faithful, and the ball he named Justice. This was the formation of law. The first law he deemed was that no man shall ever dwell the ends of the earth alone. Thou shall say that it also means one should never want without sanctification, to yearn without reward, to sow without reaping. With Faithful, justice clashed with the endless nothingness of uncreatively, and brought forth life, brought forth creativity. Tools are the words of the Creator, and so the stone man spoke justice and faithfulness into the hell he resided in, the one that collided with the soles of his feet and sought to consume him until he became lacking. The stone sought to be pregnant with him again, with him inside of it, yet it was a doomed birth, one that would never be, and that is why it shall be named boredom. Clash and smash, lash and bash, can one be so rash yet be so rational? The stone man thought words he did not know, he understood the world coming before him but he did not speak words at all, he knew no words. He sculpted the land before him, the land it formed so that he may turn this boredom into a loyal court, a home of the law that is faithful to prejudice against the disease of physicality. The law that says we collide with the world and are at its mercy, that it must touch us, that we cannot choose not to touch it. So this stone man hated the stone, he hated it. His wrath could not be matched, yet at all times, he touched it. How he manifested his hatred onto it. It was with utter contempt for its attempted murder, its thievery against his life. So he spoke and made names, to distinguish that which he created from the encompassing stone that enshrouded his satisfactions. He called it mallet and chisel, speaking in two so that he may himself feel as if he is one of two, one that is not so alone in the land before him. For centuries he sculpted this stone to form a land, one that was nothing like the endless flat stone that haunted his mind, tainted his hopes by its sameness, its lack of essence, failed fruit of a dead tree. He made towers, hills, oceans of shapes that one could not comprehend without looking upon them, without sharing the mind that created them. But the stone man did not favor these as much as he did the creatures he had made. He was no longer alone, and desired to learn language so that he may speak and share his stories with others. But they were not like him. They could not build, and they all looked different than his hands and feet. They had bodies and heads unlike his were invisible, but he thought, so willingly, that they could see the formations of his being that he himself could not. He would never know as he did not create them to speak, he didn't know how. If he could tell them how to build, maybe they could make themselves speak. Even though he made them, he did not feel like them, that he was one of them. He imagined that they worshipped him as their creator, but he thought that they were what made him the creator, and so with that, they were his creator. For years he strolled from one indescribable distance to another, walking through his immense land as creator, never seeing the same land twice. While he marveled at his creation, he did not want to see it again. He began to realize that all of these creations, were the same stone that encased him before, that almost murdered him. He realized this must be true, this stone was alive, it must be, and it was taking its time to drive him mad, so he would realize he was in hell, he was doomed to suffer in boredom, to be in the womb of carnage, of his own devastation. A birth that would never come, never end. A pregnant mother who would never give birth, an abomination of nature, an abomination of existence. What have I done to let this stone have so much power over my life? How shall I overcome it? I never want to look at it again. Hide me, hide it from my eyes. And so the stone man broke his promise, and rather than creating, he dug. He dug deep into the cataclysms of the earth, perhaps trying to find its source and murder it, or to attack the darkness that enshrouded him. He did not care, he did not desire to live or die, he only wanted to rid himself of the stone that existed, always existed, and would always be. And so he dug so deep that he was engulfed by shadow, and found the confliction of darkness and stone. That was separate. He longed to become a part of the darkness now, to distinguish himself from the stone he held such malice for. But as he carved a hole with his hands into the cataclysms, sitting in a small room that he would never be able to leave. In the beginning he was dying in the darkness, surrounded by stone. Was the darkness saving him from the stone? Is that what kept him alive? Or was the stone saving him from the darkness? What if all along, the stone was protecting him from the darkness? Now he realized, he must escape, but he could not. All around him was darkness, but there was no way to reach up. He clawed and clawed to climb up, but his hands slipped and the stone was left unchanged. He stayed here, and became the Shadow Man, no longer the creator of the stone, but the destroyer of himself. There he lied, and was consumed by insanity like a lamb by ravenous dogs, feasting on the poor, frail frame of what was once a man, but now a meal. The Shadow Man's eyes burned, and he accepted this as punishment for his existence, that he was doomed from the beginning to tragedy, and that this was all his own doing. Darkness, stone, all were his enemies now, he hated them all, but this hatred could not stand against the wrath he stored for himself. But in this place his eyes burned, and he felt a hand, a stone hand, reach for him. It was so strong, so firm, and he knew from the years shaping this that it was his own creation, his creature he had formed from the stone. His Bronco. Blind and feeble, he was carried up the tunnels, and lay rest for many days. He shut his eyelids, refusing to witness the relief he had been given, accepting that he shall roll into the hole once Bronco had weakened its grip. A firm but gentle grip, firm to protect him from himself, but gentle as a gracious gesture for his generosity in its formation. You have made me so incredible, you have dedicated so much effort into me that I have become Bronco. I am free, and it is you that made me so. Now I see that you have imprisoned yourself. Why do you do this to yourself? With this, the Shadow Man, who could not be Shadow Man any longer in the light, rolled into the hole, but the other figures pushed him back and sealed it shut. Now he ran screaming, but his eyelids were opened, and he saw the land around him. The stone hills were now green and plush, the towers were shaped into bricks and lined with wood. The sky was blue and glorious, birds roamed the sky, children played with flowers, and the creatures he had made now shared the same hands and feet he had. With strange chests and faces that looked so beautiful. It is okay, you are with us now. I am the Shadow Man, let me wander in the shadows. You have forgotten who you are Braunchy, and you are my son, and I am your mother. So the stone man looked into her eyes and saw the reflection in the deep blue ocean. Eyes that held more life than all the creatures that swam beneath its waters, more than all the birds in the sky and creatures of the forest. More than any other life that could ever drift in the outreaches of the universe. And in this life, this all-encompassing life, he saw himself, and he smiled and said, "Can you tell me another story?"